So today we're going to be talking about finances and relationships. I want to start that off by saying, what do you think the impact of finance in a relationship plays? Do you think it's important? Do you think that's something that needs to be discussed, or is that something that you only discuss when you're married?
I think it definitely needs to be discussed, but it also depends on how, like, the nature of your relationship. Like, I don't think finances need to be discussed on the first date, but if you are dating someone on a reoccurring basis, at some point in time, there's going to be a question about who's paying for something or anything. So there are a lot of different financial conversations that will happen, but they'll be talked about at some point in time.
Okay. So let me dig deeper into that. We're talking about there's other things that will be discussed. Let's talk about financial stability or income or things of that nature. Do you feel that these are things that need to be discussed early on, or is this something that you discuss later on?
I think it's discussed as something that I would like for a future, yes. So
Okay.
yes, financial security is something that I value. And so yes, if I'm dating someone, that's something that's gonna come up, so that again, as we delve into deeper conversations, as we continue to evolve, it's still anchoring back to the same point.
Gotcha. Anybody else?
I mean, finances are the reason why a lot of these relationships, marriages, boyfriend, girlfriend, or whatever situation you have, are breaking up. I'm not sure if it's that there is a larger weight placed on finances, or if not enough was placed on it in the beginning, and then you are in a situation where things changed, or things were kept from you. You had no idea. People's credit scores aren't what you thought they would be. When you go to put something together or going on a joint venture or something like that. So I think it is important. It's not the end all be all. I think there's some men and women where you can work with a situation. If you have growth potential, I like to call it growth potential. But if there isn't any, that's tough.
Okay. Good stuff. Christina?
If you're serious, you have to have discussions about finances, because finances will break a relationship. Finances cause divorce.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, finances will stop you from being in a relationship with somebody. So if it's serious, you're gonna have to talk about it.
Okay. Jay?
I don't think you should talk about finances until you really have decided that you are committed to that person.
Okay. So what would be the deciding factor that you would say shows that you're committed to that person to have that conversation? Would it be engagement, marriage, what?
No, I think everybody has their own personal time block. So, you make that decision. I mean, obviously it's going to be a mutual decision, but you would make that decision when you feel you're ready.
Okay. So you guys all kind of briefly touched on the fact that financial instability is something that could deter you from a relationship, right? So, and you said also that if there's potential, so you meant financial potential, correct? Upward growth potential?
Upward increases, whether they be
That's a management
slight
definition. I like that.
or, I mean, you want somebody with a pay is the
Okay.
you want
Also,
somebody
so
that
you
has
mean outside
potential to
sources
rise.
taken away from their already struggling financial situations, which are implied? I mean, help me out.
That gave me anxiety.
Okay.
Even thinking about that. I did have a question. What happens if you're in a situation with someone and you are now serious? Y'all start talking about finances and they're like, I got about $200,000 worth of student loan debt. Because that's going to become your debt.
That's deep right there.
Any debt's gonna become your debt.
Any debt, but
Student loan debt is
Student
a
debt
lot.
is
Yeah, that's different.
It's
But
a lot.
because people are paying $100,000 down on their student loan debt, looking and seeing that they still have so much left still because they won't pay on the interest.
For me, I'll speak on that. For me, everybody walks into a relationship with some type of debt, whether it be financial or mental or physical. So you're gonna have to take on that if you're really into somebody. Now, if it's financial debt and you went to school to be a doctor, I get it. You gotta dig about it, but you went to be a doctor.
If it took you 8 years to get out of college.
I mean,
Not saying there's anything wrong with
there's
that.
no
if you
judgment
graduate.
either, because I mean, everybody have their journey. But my thing is, are you able to pay what you owe? Now, if you're not able to pay what you owe and it falls on me, if I take on, then that's a different conversation.
What's the payment plan? What's the plan to get out of said debt? Because
Well,
like you said,
that's not for me. That's for FAFSA to set
No,
up.
no, no. But I'm saying no. But that's for you to honor whatever's been set up.
Right.
So are you in a position to? Are you honoring what has been set up? So it's not.
Yeah.
I think to your question, Monique, about okay, what if they're coming with it? Okay, if you're coming with it, but how? Like, what's your, what's your plan? Like, what's your strategy? Like, that's 200. How are we getting through this? Do we need to set an alarm clock? Like for whenever it's getting paid? Like, I don't know.
My question is, are you paying it? Have you been paying it? Can you pay it? And if you're doing that, I'm gonna leave it alone. Like, you got that. Okay. So we don't have to worry about that, right? Now, if it comes back up later on and it's like, yeah, so I missed the last 6 months.
My
of
name
payment.
is in collections.
Yeah, and, so yeah. I mean, that's a different conversation, but you gotta have that conversation. Now, we're dealing with something different. You lied about being able to maintain it and you didn't bring it back up when it became an issue.
What happens if she can't maintain
If she can't maintain it, when we first talk about it, and you say you can't maintain
it?
it, then it's a choice that I have to make. Do I want to take on that responsibility of helping? If I don't, then this is my time to exit.
How do you make the decision of if you do?
Yeah, it's loving up.
You basically let them know, okay, well, when you help them, try to help themselves. Okay, this is how much you make, this is how much you're gonna cost. So let's put aside this. And all right, you only have enough to put this without really hurting what you're already doing. So I'll help you here. That's when you know what I'm saying, you become a partner and you help. But if you don't want to do that, say that. But give the people the opportunity to make that choice, in my opinion.
I will say this, when you said, I will help, I did hear, I don't know if I would hear a woman say that.
I think so. Some. Not everybody. But not every man would say that.
Yes, that's true. But I
It's-
feel like
it's-
that, I
it's-
just wouldn't pick, I don't know if
I
I would
refuse to
picture
believe
like
everybody's
myself
the same.
saying, like, you need help with your phone bill, or you need help with I don't know. Just me.
I was gonna say, I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's a partnership.
That might be my
It's
patriarchy
where you
in
win
my
it. Like,
mind,
if
but
it's a partnership, then I'm like, well, where can I help you at? Because helping you helps me.
yeah.
Right.
But I guess I'm also thinking about it as it's new.
Well, if it's new,
yeah.
you probably won't
You're
find
not-
out
yeah.
about that, to be honest.
You're not partners yet.
Yeah, you're not gonna hear about that. Now, if we're on, getting married and we're up there and you're like, oh yeah, by the way, I have $200,000 in debt. Like, what?
Well, now you're just
Then what?
Exactly. Like, that's a
Mission
whole
is still
different
alive.
situation.
Right.
But you wanna eventually create some opportunity to be upfront. You don't have to be upfront out the gate about everything personal, because not everybody's gonna be there for the long haul. But when you decide and when you truly know that person's gonna be there, I feel like that's when you have to put all your cards on the table.
That's exactly that's it.
Didn't disagree with you.
Nah, go.
Didn't disagree with you.
Can someone that you are seriously dating, well, how would you take it when someone that you're seriously dating tries to tell you or that you shouldn't buy something, or that you can't buy something, or tries to,
So what you're saying is somebody telling you can't spend your money, or is it their money? That's the question.
Or is it our money?
that if you spend your money on this, I'm gonna think this, for example. Like, if you spend let's say,
Well, then you're dating somebody that's very judgmental. If you prefer to be judged like that, then that's a personal choice. But nobody's gonna tell me how to spend my money. I'm not gonna feel guilty, because guess what? I work every day for my money. Now, if I'm being irresponsible with my money, my partner says you're being irresponsible and you're buying this when you should be taking care of this, then they're right. If I take offense to that, then that's just on me. I need to deal with that. But if they're helping you to be responsible, that's one thing. But if they're just ridiculing what you do with your money, so what would you prefer I do with my money then? That's what I would want to know. Oh, spend it on you? Yeah, all right. Get out of here. Ma'am, bring it up.
Cause like, what if you, let's say,
I feel like you got some real questions right now.
Yeah, I mean, we gonna talk to me more.
I'm trying to understand. I want to hear these real questions. Like, this is real
They're
research.
good though. They're good though.
because I know for a fact that there have been times where I want something. I want it very passionately. Like, whether it's like, let's say I wanted the new Apple Watch or whatever. But you know that it might be tight for us. But I want to spend my money to get this.
It's a sacrifice. But is it taken away from your way of life? Is it gonna have you homeless with the new fly Apple Watch? Will you not have water running for a month for the new Apple Watch? Like when it gets to that point, then it's like, needs over wants.
Right.
I think it's also based on presentation, right?
Right.
So if you're
present like a mess,
well, it's kind of like, you buying a new Apple Watch, but you can't pay the light bill,
Right,
Like that's
Yeah.
a different thing. But if it's a legit, did you forget about? I don't know. We got to pay the dance school this month. So just a heads up. That's a nice way of telling me, yeah, that's not gonna work. Think about that bill that we got to pay, or you might have forgot we got to pay it through.
I mean, I feel like I'm vetting all that up front. So
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be with a woman that can't handle her own bills. So
That part.
that's gonna be how we do
Yeah, that's a big one. Because you can't act brand new when you get married and they can't handle their bills. Which a lot of people do that. They act brand new like you didn't know that this was who they were. And you hope people can change just because they're with you or they become who you are. I've never, I'm not gonna say I never understood why people do that, but it just finds me mind-boggling that people still do that. So let me ask you this: when you're in a relationship versus when you're married, do you feel that having our money is more suitable, or should it be separate? Your money, my money, then we have money that we have together. How do you feel that should play out?
I think for every situation, it's a different formula that works. For me personally, I envision our money, which includes some either like agreed upon percentage, agreed upon this is for household bills, but like we have our money pot. We also have our money savings pot or our money investment pot, whatever you want to call our money, where probably bulk of our money is being contributed to. But then I also am okay with having just money that out of whatever portion that has not been donated to our money, that stays at home. So that if I want to go buy something, I don't have to worry about what you just said of, when I buy something's almost checking on me. Because guess what? Our money is covered, all the bills are covered in here. Now how we decide, is it a percentage, is it a set amount, that's, we determine. But
When you have kids, where do the kids come in?
our money.
So
they're our kids,
right. Wait, are we increasing the amount that's going into our money? How do you determine how much you pay in for kids?
It all, there's a lot of.
So you got a 3-year-old. How do you
Gotta be
determine
calculated.
outside of the house bills? This much is going in for
So I'm a firm believer more of like percentages versus a set number, a set value amount, because it's not guaranteed that both myself and my husband will be coming in with the same amount.
Right.
So therefore, it's more of a percentage, and so in general, I think easily like 75% of our money should be going to our money. That's after tax. 75% going to our money, and that 75% divvied up to, okay, there's X portion going into savings, X portion available for bills, X portion available. Now, if we got kids, then we got to move around some numbers. But then if that's not suitable, then maybe it's not 75, maybe it's 85% that goes towards our money. But then there's still a portion that I think should be retained just for, so for you to be able to do.
Right.
So anytime you swipe in a card, I'm like, hold on, because I get all the alerts. And so, if you understand swiping not having
Right.
then
Right, like I don't want you
Yeah.
questioning me by the last 5 days in a row.
then swipe on your shits. So stuff, excuse me. That's what works for me, but I think every relationship has to come whatever system works for them.
I think that's true because I've seen that play out where it's one of my friends, they gave, well actually it was the percentage of the moms and all of the dads from his main job. He also had a side job and that was like his money, and like that still works for them. And I was just like, oh, that's interesting. I hadn't thought about that. And even splitting it 50-50, or just all of our money in one pot. So no, you're right. It wasn't until I got older and I realized people do a lot of different things.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember coming up, there was a, what's yours is mine, mine is mine. The song is, we're kids in the car, we don't understand what that means, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now I understand what that means. Like, if I understand what I'm bringing to the table, and right now I'm very happy. I have whatever I need for me and what I want for me. So I don't really necessarily need someone to come to the table with money. However, or anything other than like quality time and the love languages, right? But there's like people who run with the philosophy of like the big bank take little bank, everything goes into the bank. But if you look at like Gabrielle and Dwayne Wade, she was saying she had never been in a situation where someone was making so much more money than her that her money necessarily doesn't really matter. Like, and it's just what it is, and she's just like, cool. But I think it's also, I mean, we work very hard to get where we are. We work very hard to get that salary number, and sometimes the ego comes into play where that might not work either.
So this came up as like, I don't know, random conversation Jay and I were having. So that's somewhat of a specific question, a more specific question. So you own a house before you get married, and you sell said house, and I mean you might make $150,000 off of it. Like, it was a great investment for you. But you're selling it, and you're getting married, / gotten married, and y'all looking for a new house too. So do you take that money you made off the purchase of your home and put it all towards the down payment or into the home that you're building with your husband or wife?
I could see some contention there. If you wasn't here putting in on this, shooting with me in the gym when I was really working hard on equity. That's my equity.
Yeah.
Before you. Now I might love you, but that's still mine.
So my philosophy is a little bit different. I believe in her money and my money. I don't necessarily believe in like a pot of money, because if she had been handling bills or financial responsibilities on her own, she should be fine. I've been handling my bills and responsibilities on my own, and I should be fine. But if we're planning something together, then yeah, you can combine money to purchase something or travel somewhere, whatever it may be, right? But just for me to arbitrarily take a percentage and just place it into a pot however often, that's gonna be a challenge for me, because I feel like I already have plans for what I want to do with my money in terms of like investments, or even if I just want to spend it freely, whatever it is that I want to do.
So how would you handle house bills? Or just like
So we had a conversation up front. It may be a situation where I take care of the mortgage, she takes care of the utilities and groceries, something like that. Where it's something that we can plan, we can talk about, but I'm not necessarily just saying, hey, I'm throwing $2,000 in here every month, just in case. Like, that's just not how I operate. I'll have my own accounts where I place money just in case, but I want to have autonomy and control over my finances. So, being in a relationship with someone, I always say that it involves, it takes time to really get to know someone. And if you are marrying that person, last time I checked in high school, I think it was like 50% divorce rate, which was higher now. And from what I'm hearing right now, you guys are saying a lot of it has to do with finances, right? So let me control this portion. You can control this portion, and we have conversations about what we want to do together. As far as like purchasing a home, you can. So I look at marriage as really all it is a contract. It's all business. So going into a contract, you want to have certain terms. You want to have representation. I definitely believe in having a prenuptial agreement.
We want prenuptial.
I definitely believe in having that. Yeah, I definitely believe in having that because it can set some of the parameters so that moving forward in a relationship, you don't have to worry about who's responsible for what. So if I do have a home and I sell it, and I place 20% down on the home, then I'll utilize that as a percentage. Like if there is a separation, then I receive that money back plus 50% or whatever it is that we get for selling the home or however that works. But having all that kind of stuff up front, is probably going to make things a lot easier in the back end. So that even if the relationship continues and there's no problem, you at least don't have to worry about that part because you know what the parameters are going to be.
It's like as you get older, I feel the practicality of a prenup makes a lot more sense. Why do you think, growing up or being younger, up until I don't even know when, it seems like it was frowned upon to get a prenup? Like it's a bad thing for you to protect your finances before making this union. But it was traditional for some people.
Not for us.
But I don't think it's traditional for us now, but I feel like
I think it's more traditional now because most people idolize celebrities, and people have seen what happens with celebrities so much that now people act as if, just like the tax, you make over $400,000, you're getting taxed as high as everybody acting, like they make over $400,000. So a lot of people see celebrities and how they suffer, and they say, "Oh, I'm gonna get a prenup." Sir, you don't have anything, man. What are you getting a prenup for? You make $30,000 a year. Like what is somebody taking from you? Now, I've seen situations from the military standpoint where you may be making $50,000 and your partner makes nothing, and in certain states will favor if you get spousal support, and you may have to get the spousal support. If you have nothing and they're taking nothing from you, that becomes a complication. But prenups, I've noticed, has changed over the years because it used to be stipulations to it, and now it's a lot more broader. It becomes more gray areas. But that goes into the segue into the next part. So I see what you two feel about prenups. How does everybody else feel about prenups? What is your opinion on the prenup? Are you for it, against it?
I would be thrown off.
Really? Why?
I don't know.
Why do you get married? What's the point of not getting married? Why would you get married?
I don't know. I'm a little bit more of a romantic. I'm getting married for love.
Okay. So if you're getting married,
I'm not getting married to break up, and I'm not getting married to come take your things, whatever your things are,
but if you
or
are,
you take mine.
if you're getting married for love, right?
Yes.
And that's the foundation of your purpose. Then why does money even matter?
I didn't say it did.
Well, we were talking about prenups, right? And you said that you may be taken aback about that. So why would you be taken aback if your purpose for getting married is love, is for romance? The financial aspect doesn't have anything to do with that part.
So why are you coming to me with a contract about money?
Because that may be something that is paramount for the other person.
I don't know. I think the argument makes a couple of loops back around.
All right, let's
like
talk about
with
it.
what we're. I think it's just this. That's a tennis match.
It is. I feel like it's perception when you walk into the situation. I've met people who are completely appalled by the idea of a prenup because that's saying, one, you're admitting that you think that this is not going to work. Two, you don't trust me. So it becomes more of more about me than we, because that conversation is a we conversation. Why are you? The question you should be asking is, why are you feeling like you need a prenup? Not just because of me. Why in general? Because apparently this was something you always felt. And when I started thinking of it that way, as I got older, I was like, I don't care. If a person feels like they need a prenup, cool, because I know personally I'm not taking anybody's.
Yeah, it's like, what do you think
I don't
my
want anything from
what do you
anybody.
think my intentions are if this goes bad?
But that also allows me to say, well, then I could ask for one. But I'm not going to ask for one first. Me personally, I wouldn't bring it up unless I felt I needed to. But if I felt I needed to in that situation, I probably wouldn't be in that situation.
But a prenup, all the prenup is insurance, it's protection.
Right. Everybody wants to be protected, but the thing about that, if you want to be real, and we're trying to be real, the thing about that is when you go say your vows, it's all about chance.
Okay.
Nothing's guaranteed.
Okay.
So this is not the casino.
It's
You can't
insurance.
You can't have.
Carry on.
That's like you saying I'm gonna have unprotected sex, but I want to have insurance without using a condom. It makes no sense. Those exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
What?
You basically it's saying you want to have the cake, but you want your ice cream too on the side. Like you want to have sex, you want to feel all the pleasures of sex, but you don't want to use a condom. But yet you want to protect yourself. How are you doing that?
So people get let's go with, for lack of a better term, income insurance or job insurance.
Okay.
So if for whatever reason you're laid off or for whatever reason you're fired, the insurance company will have a policy that will pay you for a certain period of time until you be back on your feet, right?
Okay.
So in a situation of where you're working for someone,
Okay.
you don't have any control over that entity, organization, individual letting you go for any reason, right?
Okay.
So if you can walk into a situation of employment and know that no matter what, I want to work here, I want to be here, but ultimately it's up to that entity or even exterior or external parties that can determine, or the economy, or whatever it may be. But if you place an insurance policy in place that if this does not work out, then I'm protected, wouldn't you do that?
So let me make
Doesn't
sure.
that make sense?
Let me make sure I'm clear. So you're comparing a job's insurance to a life partner? Because when last time I checked in my interviews, I'm not swearing before God to love you
This has nothing to do with
to
God.
death. It has everything.
This doesn't have anything to do with God. With God.
Well, when you go and say your vows, and then you say I need. Now let me make this clear first. I'm not arguing pro or con for this. I'm just giving different points of views.
I understand, but the financial aspect has absolutely nothing to do with God. In your vows, like you're not committing your finances.
The fact that you don't see,
You only-
the
you
fact
only
that you don't
commit-
see,
But you're not. But yeah, you're supposed to stay with the person for richer or for poorer. But you're not committing your finances to that person. You're not saying if we separate, then you get X and I get Y. That is not in there.
but
that's
do you
that's
say
all part of law.
till death do us part, or do you omit that part?
Well, I've never been married.
I'm saying,
But-
would you say that part, or would you omit it, or would you say until we no longer like each other no more? I mean, because you can't twist everything to make it appropriate for you and comfortable for you. Sometimes you have to be uncomfortable in life. And when you propose to somebody,
This is not.
when you propose to somebody, you're putting yourself in a vulnerable position to be rejected. You can't have insurance. Like, what if you could have insurance on that? I would love to have insurance on proposal.
Okay.
I'm
Alright.
sure 100 dudes in America would.
You may
To
not
know
have
for a
insurance on
fact,
that.
if I didn't get a yes from this woman, that some woman in the crowd is gonna say yes. I'm walking away a winner.
That's cool. That's cool. That doesn't exist.
Exactly.
Right? But a prenup does.
Okay.
That's what we're talking about.
Right. So you want a prenup, and that's fine. You want a prenup, but I'm trying to get to the base, to the root of this, to why do you feel like?
Because
So
I
I got a better
have too
knowledge.
much. I have too much to lose.
I got a better knowledge.
I'm ready.
Okay.
I got a
I
better
have way
knowledge.
too much to lose.
Okay.
You
For-
gotta get car insurance, not because you're hoping that you're gonna get into an accident,
Mhm.
but should you get in an accident, you're covered. So it's the same scenario whenever you enter into a partnership, you're entering vows. Yeah, I'm hoping that you're honoring till death do us part as well. But for certain things don't work out that way. You may not honor your vows. You may decide you want to walk away. You may decide you're no longer in love with me. And so now, because I'm still willing to honor it, but you're ready to walk away, and you want to walk away with half of what or whatever, that's no. So
This is my opinion. Again, at a dealership, you're not swearing before God, but this is my thing.
Yeah,
I feel like
swear
once
before God and get divorced. Like
right.
you can, and that weighs
there's
on
no
your
weight
spirit.
there.
Or you swear before God, people
I don't want it to weigh on my pockets.
in court and say that they're going to tell the truth and
They
lie.
will
So
lie,
I
And what happens if you're caught lying?
you're in contempt of
If
court.
you're caught.
If you're caught lying.
those
But
people
what
got a
happens
lawyer
when
that's ready to
what happens
pay
when you
for
swear
their
before
insurance.
God when you get married and you get a divorce? Nothing. And this is what I'm
What
getting
do you mean
to.
nothing?
Nothing happens. They can't take you to jail
No,
for
they can-
not staying
If
married.
I don't have a prenuptial agreement,
No, but
the
see, that's the
law
finance
the
part.
law permits for
I
me to
feel
be punished financially.
Okay, that's if you make more. In some states, if your partner makes more than you,
Women paying alimony out.
exactly,
But they make more.
and that's when it gets a little skewed for me, because then you have those same men, not saying you, same men that I know that I was working with in the military, that when they get a partner that makes more than them, that they're like, oh yeah, I don't need a prenup. Oh, now you don't need a prenup. Now it's cool. Now you're not worried about it coming for your coin, because you know you could possibly get, like, come on, man. Like, people use that same safety net as a reason to run when things go wrong. And I feel like before everybody was so big on the prenup bandwagon, people were actually forced to work through issues. Now, there's some issues you can't work through. I get that. There's some relationships that don't manage and working out. But guess what? If you actually take the time to get to know somebody, you know if they're meant for you. You know if you can trust them. If you don't trust somebody, why be with them?
You don't talk to me nice. Don't talk to me at all.